You just got your bell rung. It's just a headache. It'll go away. No big deal. These are phrases that I've heard far too many times during my 20-plus years of football experience at the scholastic, collegiate, semi-pro, and arena levels. These are also phrases that should never be said to a player who's suspected of suffering a concussion. My fellow scholastic football coaches and I are working tirelessly to eradicate these phrases from the vocabulary of all football coaches across the country. The old school mentality has put football in a very uncertain situation in regards to its future. However, a more sensible approach when it comes to players who may have suffered a concussion will preserve football for many generations to come. Concussions in football are down across the board. In fact, according to an article in the Washington Post by Eric Goldwine, high school football has seen a 5% decrease in concussions over the last 2 years. You may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with me? Maybe you don't play football, but perhaps someone you love does. Isn't it good to know that the adults that coach these young athletes have their best interests at heart when it comes to their safety? During this presentation, I'd like to share with you how newly implemented concussion protocol, as well as advancements in equipment technology and subtle rule changes, have helped make football safer now than it has ever been. The National Federation of State High School Sports Associations has implemented concussion protocol across the board. This protocol requires that athletic trainers or medical staff are present at all practices or competitions. Gone are the days of a player being hurt and medical staff not being present to treat them. In addition, if a player is suspected of suffering a concussion, they are to be removed from the field immediately. When in doubt, take the player out. In addition, player must be evaluated by their physician and be a minimum of 7 days concussion-free before they may return to competition. This is to help ensure that a player doesn't return too soon and unfortunately suffer that second concussion because they're more susceptible after they've suffered the first. In addition to this protocol, technology advancements have made football much safer. The old football helmets, although they did their job, simply weren't enough. They consisted of a foam rubber lining inside with an air bladder that was designed to protect the player and absorb the shock of a hit. New helmets have come a long way. I have with me here, this is a more modern football helmet. Now, on the outside, this football helmet looks like many football helmets you may have seen. However, on the inside, it's lined with shock absorbers all the way around. These shock absorbers help ease the blow that the skull takes. Shock absorbers redirect the impact throughout their network and keep the impact off of the skull, which jars the brain and causes a concussion. In addition, we now have safety ratings for all football helmets that are put out on the market. Researchers at Virginia Tech have designed tests and standards to test how effective a football helmet is in protecting a player's brain. These new standards have gone a long way with showing what we put out on the market for safety for our kids. They allow us to properly fit our kids with the best helmets possible that will preserve their safety. In addition, field turf is being worked on that will give less impact as well, because not all hits are helmet to helmet. Sometimes the player goes down, they hit their head on the turf. New shock absorbing technology in field turf also lessens the likelihood of a concussion. In addition, this technology is always being researched more to find the best possible way to help treat or to help prevent concussions. A company called Vicus is actually experimenting with high-speed crashes with automobiles to implement crumple zones along with the shock absorbers that should make concussions even less likely during a football game. Technology is still being developed, but we're confident that with this, along with what we have, concussions will continue to decrease. In addition to technology, we also have rule changes. Some of these rule changes have been met with various levels of opposition. Hits to the head or shoulders are outlawed, and they will be flagged. Some people have issues with this, however, a hit to the head or the shoulders is not only not effective and also dangerous. It's not good technique. Truthfully, a good solid hit to the midsection to the knees, a good wrap-up tackle, is not only more technically sound and more effective, but it's also much more safe. No one that I've ever seen has gotten a concussion from a good form tackle. Some hits that you may see to the head and shoulders will also result in a concussion. This is
that should have been an ejection.
Reduce the number of those hits that you see, and in turn reduce the number of concussions. In addition to these rule changes, coaches also must be certified in concussion safety. Where I coach in Maryland, coaches are required every 2 years to take a course and recertify themselves in proper concussion safety, as well as proper techniques to prevent a concussion. All these proactive measures have come together to create the perfect storm of improvement when it comes to football. I believe that if we simply enacted a protocol or maybe improved the technology, maybe things would get better. But when we use all three methods of rule changes, better technology, and an improved concussion protocol, we get the results that we're having now, where football is safer and more fun. With this information, you have now been equipped with the information that's necessary to make your own decisions. In fact, you may even now decide to go and help spread the word and become an advocate that football is a safer game for many. But I encourage you to go out and take this information and make the best decision that you feel possible.